to all kinds of just, pressures and different things like that. My father left when I was 7, and he left with these very poignant, powerful words. I remember them to this day. I'm leaving you. Goodbye. And, I was 7, and I still remember it. I remember the very short sentence. And I remember when I came along, 7, wasn't a believer, and then I get into high school, and then people put this label on me. They said, okay, well, here's what you are. This is the kind of person you are. So you're an athlete, so we're going to put you in this box, and so this is what you want to do, and so that's kind of what we're going to make your life about. And, me, I was like, well, whatever, that's what you want to make my life about? Sure, I'll be about that. So, I was just in high school, I was just like your classic person. I ran track in high school. I got really good to where, colleges were looking at me. And then, by the sovereign grace of God, my senior year, I broke my ankle playing football. And so I couldn't run. And when you are a track person and you can't run, no one really wants you at that point. So college scholarships went away. I remember going into my high school guidance counselor, and I said, okay, so broken leg, obviously, I can't run. Now, up until this point, we've been good friends. He's like, yeah, I really see college from you. Now, I'll tell you exactly what he said. He said, I don't think you'll graduate high school. Okay, I was like, oh, wow, you're harsh. Okay, so that's, are you sure you should be doing this? Because you seem horrible at this job. And so, there have been all of these moments. And then my junior year in high school, became a Christian, became a believer, and just began to awaken up to who God is. It was at that point in my life where a couple of passages really began to leap up the pages of Scripture for me. One of them was Hebrews chapter 4, which is awesome. But that's not what we're going to study tonight. We're going to look at Luke chapter 7 tonight. And this is one of those verses that I just love it because it reminds me so much of myself. Luke chapter 7, looking at verse 36. And here's what I want you to do tonight. Normally in a Bible study, you could put yourself in one of the two categories. You could put yourself as the hero of the story, or, which is more than likely not the case. But in this case, there are two people in this Bible study. And what I want you to pray through, what I want you to hear tonight is, what I want you to do is just to ask God, as I'm speaking, as I'm talking, just ask God, just in a still, quiet voice, just say, okay, God, which one of these is me? Like, which one of these hearts is my heart? Now, here's what I don't want you to do, all right? There's two people in the Bible study. Don't make a third person, right? Don't make yourself a combo of, okay, well, I'm kind of middle of the road here. So I'm like her, but I'm kind of like him. Don't do that. Just ask God to just come in and just say, okay, God, just point out to me in my life which one of these people am I. Luke chapter 7, verse 36. Says, now one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him, so he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. When a woman who had lived a sinful life in that town learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster jar of perfume, and as she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. And when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. Now, here's the interesting thing about this passage, is that the Pharisee and this sinful woman both have an encounter with Jesus, right? And it's at a time before it's written, so we don't know when Simon met Jesus, and we don't know when the sinful woman met Jesus, but we know that both of them had an encounter with Jesus, that one of their encounters, Simon, it prompted him to invite Jesus to dinner. The other encounter is with the sinful woman, and this encounter prompted her to go into the dinner party and just lavish this worship on Jesus. The first person I want to look at is the woman. And I want you to see the power of an encounter with Jesus. And there's a couple of things about this encounter that she has with Jesus that I think are important for us to kind of understand and to kind of know. And here's the first one. That it's a lifestyle of worship and not a casual observance is the appropriate response to Jesus. Like if you're living your life and you have the right heart for Jesus, like we talked about this morning, that if we're going to, love mercy and act justly and walk humbly with our God, then we're going to have the right heart when we approach God. And so here it is that when she hears that Jesus is at Simon's house, like she goes there and she says, man, I'm just going to get there. Now, let me ask you this question. Let's suppose everybody in this room got the text of the day and it has all of your sins on it. Like everybody knows your sins. Like you walk in the door and your phone goes off and everybody looks at it and they go, oh my goodness, wow. And it's like it just keeps going, you keep scrolling. You're like, wow, everybody in this room knows everything that you've ever done. Like they know the secret stuff that you're doing. They know all of your business. Like everybody knows it. How many of us would show up here? Like, how many of us would go, oh, wow, everybody knows? No, thank you. Right, most of us would check out on that, but it makes her actually go into this place and go, right, everybody knows my sin. Everybody knows what is going on, but she goes there and she goes, I do not care what you're thinking. I do not care what you're saying. Because here's the beauty of an encounter with Jesus, is that when you know Jesus and that everybody can know your sin, when she walks into that place and she lavishes this worship upon Jesus, what she says to this whole community is, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Sinner, absolutely right. That is who I was. That is not who I am. And that is the difference between like a casual relationship with Jesus, is that she goes in there, even though everybody knows her sin, everybody knows her stuff, she just walks in there and she says, there is my Jesus, there is my treasure, and I'm going to go toward Jesus. And that is who I was. That is not who I am now. That could be you. Right, you could say, well, I've done all kinds of stuff. I've done all kinds of things, and there's no way that Jesus could accept me. I'm telling you, that if Jesus can accept her, he can accept you. That is what Jesus does. Let me hear this, and you can write this down if you want to, but here it is. The measure of God's love for you is not in your circumstances. Right? The measure of God's love for you is not in your circumstances. A lot of people think, well, I've had this kind of life, and so therefore, God is against me. God cannot love me. I am unworthy, and so I'm not worthy for God to come and to save me because of all of the baggage that I bring to the table. The measure of God's love for you is not in your circumstances. The measure of God's love for you is at the cross, right? Because there it is. It's at the cross where Jesus says, you know what? I don't care about your baggage. I don't care what you've done. That because of what I have done for you, I enable you to come. I enable you to come. Let me tell you right now, very, very point blank, very honestly, that if you're not a believer here tonight, let me tell you what you need to do. Party like there's no tomorrow. I'm dead serious about that. Like, you need to immediately get in the car and just live life as hard and as fast and as powerful as you can. Because here's the truth about you, that here's how you're living your life. Your treasure is here. Right? So you need to get all of here that you possibly can, because every day that you live, every day that you breathe, brings you one step closer to losing everything. Right? So you've got to get it all now. You've got to try everything. You've got to do everything. You've got to be everything to everybody. You have to bow to everybody's opinion. You have to make everybody happy. You have to live to please everybody, because you've got to get every ounce of life in, because every breath you breathe brings you one step closer to your last. But if you're a believer in this room, you have a treasure also. But your treasure is not here. Your treasure is in heaven, kept safe with Christ. And so, every moment, every breath that you take, every moment that you go to sleep and wake up, every day that you go and you live, brings you one step closer, not to losing everything, but to gaining everything. So, when you wake up in the morning, you have a totally different perspective, that you can walk in there and go, you know what? Today's a new day, and I'm going to get up tomorrow, and I'll be one step closer to gaining everything. Everything. So I don't have to be popular. I don't have to be trendy. I don't have to be cool. Because those things are going to fade away. And that when I get to see Jesus, all of that will fade away. All of that will fade away. And she goes and she just begins, she gets this expensive perfume, and she just begins to lavish it on Jesus. And then she takes down her hair, and then she's weeping, and she's covering the feet of Jesus with her tears, and then wiping them with her hair. And then when she takes her hair down, like Simon is like, I told you that this woman was not the kind of woman you should have let in here. Love makes you do incredibly dumb things. If you haven't learned that lesson, learn it today. Love makes you incredibly dumb. Before meeting my lovely wife, I dated a girl named Jennifer. I thought I was in love with Jennifer. And I'm going to teach you a valuable lesson in life, fellas. Ladies, I wish I had some pearls of wisdom for you, but this is pretty much my side of the story, so I can really only give this to guys. So just try to get in where you fit. Guys, here's rule number one of dating a lady. And it's an unwritten rule, and here it is. That if your lady likes someone, like a friend, you must also, by default, like that friend. Or your relationship will be short-lived. So Jennifer had a cousin who she loved a lot. His name was Timmy. I didn't really care for Timmy, to be honest with you. It's not that he did anything that I didn't like, but he was just kind of annoying. As generally, if you have little brothers and sisters, you know how they could be at night. And so little Timmy would, just, assault me with just 9-year-oldness. And so, that's okay. And so Jennifer loved Timmy. So I was like, oh, Timmy. Sweet Timmy. That's enough Derek and Timmy time. You go over there, I'll stay over here. And so Timmy, y'all Taco Bell, yes, because we're all from the same area. Okay, so Timmy was playing in this Taco Bell kind of thing where you collect these stickers, and it was Batman. That's how old this was. This is how late this was. But anyway, so you collect all these Batman stickers, and like if you got a certain number of them, you could win $25 million. All right. So this is what Timmy is doing. So Jennifer comes to me because she loves Timmy. Therefore, I must also like Timmy, or at least pretend that I like Timmy. So she comes up to me and she says, Derek, we must go to Taco Bell and eat so that we can win $25 million. Here's another note for you guys. When a girl says we, she means you. Right? Like my wife says we all the time. Hey, we need to mow the lawn. She hasn't touched the lawnmower in like a decade. Who is this we? Who is this we? This is me. I'm going to mow the lawn. You won't be anywhere near the lawn. So, Jennifer says, we need to go to Taco Bell. And so, being the beautiful boyfriend that I was, I tend to jump full bore into things. So, true story, I went to Taco Bell 3 times a day for a month. Yes, I ran to the border, I ran to the bathroom. I mean, it was... Oh my goodness. So, I mean, and to this day, I can still remember my order. I had 2 Frito burritos, all right? And then I had a large Pepsi, all right? So, and it was cheap. It was like, $4. So anyway, I'm having my Frito burrito lunch and Pepsi, and I'm peeling up these stickers. Okay, peel. Oh my goodness. It's, Colonel Clark, whoever it was. I was like, wow, that's the one. It was 1 ticket away. I don't know if I mentioned that, so that's why I had to go. So I get the ticket, all right? And so you have to go up there and get the little envelope and you have to mail it in. And so, I'm thinking, I just won $25 million, so I'm going up there like, shoot, I just won $25 million. Give me my ticket, I'm taking this one, yeah. There was a phone loop outside, and so I called her up, and I said, Jennifer, try to be as calm as I could be. I said, is this the ticket that we need? And she says, yes, this is the ticket that we need. I was like, I have the ticket. And she's like, no, you don't. I was like, yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. I was like, Daddy is bringing home the money. Okay. And so she's like, well, Daddy, you get yourself over here. And so she calls Timmy and Timmy's mom. And so by the time I get there, all parties are assembled. All right. And Timmy's like, I'm going to get me a Tonka toy. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna that. I was like, I do not care what you do with your part of the $25 million. So whatever, Timmy. Find yourself an island, whatever. It does not concern me. All right, so, now here's the problem. Timmy has decided, for whatever reason, in his 9-year-old brain, that he's going to put each ticket in a different location. Oh. Who does that? Right? So, you put a ticket here, put a ticket here, put a ticket here. Okay, so I'm like, as calm as I could be. Okay, Timmy, why did you do that? Okay, so I drive Timmy to his house, okay, and Timmy's, I put one over there, I think I put one over there, so I'm taking his, his drawers apart, I'm dumping his, tidy whities on the floor, in here. Well, obviously, because I'm here today. I mean, if I had $5 million, I can promise you, I would be doing a lot of other things. I love you, but, I'd be on the beach somewhere, loving you there. We never found it. And just to end the story, I ended up going like another month and doing that whole thing again. And shortly after that, we broke up. Who knew? But like I said, love makes you do stupid stuff. Like, that's horrible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. Like, learn from my example. Don't do that. That's bad. But what she does is that she goes and she just begins to lavish her love on Jesus. Like, she goes and she says, I don't care who's there, I don't care what's going on, but she just begins to lavish her love on Jesus. And here's the thing that I want to show you, is that in this whole thing, like, she doesn't say a word. She doesn't, there's no, hey, the sinful woman says this, but if sinful woman does that. She just goes and she just loves on Jesus. And she says, wherever he is, that's where I want to be. Wherever he is, whatever it costs me, whether it costs me people looking at me going, wow, I didn't even know you were a Christian. How did you get in here? That it doesn't matter, because wherever he is, that's where I want to be. Right? And that's her heart. But then you see the heart of Simon. When he says in verse 39, when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this woman were a prophet, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. Then Jesus answered him, Simon, I have something to tell you. Tell me, teacher, he said. He said, 2 men owed money to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii and the other 50. Neither of them had the money to pay him back. So he canceled the debts of both. Now, which of them will love him more? Simon replied, duh, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt canceled. You have judged correctly, Jesus said. Then he turned toward the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your house, and you did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman from the time I entered has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved much. But he who has been forgiven little loves little. Then Jesus said to her, your sins are forgiven. The guests began to say among themselves, who is this who even forgives sins? Jesus said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. I need you to tune in and hear what I'm about to say very, very carefully. Because what I'm about to say is crucial to your relationship with Jesus. Okay? And here's my statement. It is my belief that you cannot have a casual relationship with Jesus. Here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that you can't be friends with Jesus. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I believe it's impossible to have a casual relationship with Jesus. That it's impossible for you and Jesus just to have this kind of casual relationship where Jesus is on one side, you're on the other side, and you do what you want to do, and then you say, Jesus, I may get to you in a while. Here's why I believe that you cannot have a casual relationship with Jesus Christ. Here it is. And hear me, because this makes sense and everybody knows it. Because if Jesus is who he is in the Bible, then Jesus is extreme. Right? He's the most extreme person to ever live. If there's any person who's ever been extreme, that would be Jesus. All right? So Jesus is extreme. We all know that. What happens when the extreme and the casual get together? they do not meet. They actually repel each other, and you're either going to have to become extreme, or Jesus would have to become casual, and we know that Jesus is not going to do that, so the only option is for you to walk away. I had a friend at one of the churches I used to work at with Johnny. His name was Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas was extreme. Eric Thomas would sit out in our parking lot in the summer in a full suit, tie, and jacket, and would the church that we used to go to was so situated where there was an apartment complex and a school in between us. So kids and parents would have to walk through our parking lot to get to their apartments. Eric would stand outside in a full suit and jacket. He would find a group. He would walk with them and share the gospel with them to their house, and then come back and find another person. I went to his office at 10 a.m. one morning, and I said, "Hey, E, how are you? What's going on?" He goes, "I've witnessed to 10 people already." It's 10 o'clock, dude. Where did you find lost people between the hours of like 6 and 10? Hello? I mean, you came here at 9. Where are you finding these people? He said to me one day, "Hey, we're going to go to the store, all right? What are we going to get? We're going to get milk, Pop-Tarts, and a soul." Okay, I'm pretty sure we can get milk and Pop-Tarts. That whole soul thing, I do not think they sell at Kroger. That's going to be a tough one. So we're in the 10 items or less aisle with the 2 stuff that we came to get. And so he starts sharing the gospel with the teller. In the 10 items or less aisle, and there's a line forming behind us, I tap him on the shoulder and go, "Hey, E, these people want to get their stuff and kind of get out of here." And he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, you take that side, I'll take this side." And he just starts sharing the gospel, and I'm stuck there going, "Okay, you're going to go? Okay, it's going to be a gospel holdout. All right, here we go." So I turn around and I start sharing the gospel with all the people behind me, and it's just like, whenever I hung out with Eric, I shared my faith because there wasn't an option. Now that story makes me look good. Let me tell you a story that makes me look bad. There were many days where I said to myself, "I'm not going to walk into his office." There were many days when I saw him in the parking lot and I said, "I'm going to turn around and come back later," because I knew what was going to happen. Because I wanted to be casual. Eric was always extreme. And see, this is what's happened. If you're in this room tonight and you're wondering what has happened with your spiritual life, I'm going to promise you, 9 out of 10 of you, this is where you and Jesus kind of departed and went the other way spiritually. Because Jesus came to you and said, "Hey, this is what I want you to do because I'm extreme, and here's where we're going to go." And you said to Jesus, "No, I don't want to do that." And you got further and further and further away. It happens all the time. Then when Jesus calls you, and then that first no, that first kind of, you feel it in your spirit that Jesus wants you to say something to somebody, and then that first no that you go, "No, I really don't have time. It's, we're running late here. I don't have time to get involved in all that. And so I would, but I can't. That's somebody else's job. Somebody else will do it." And then it made every other no that much easier. See, it's impossible to have a casual, I believe, it's impossible to have a casual relationship with Jesus because the casual and the extreme, they don't get closer together. They move apart. And Jesus is not moving. So it's always going to be you. And the next thing that we see about this person is that they really didn't understand really what Jesus is talking about. And let me just tell you about the parable and what I think about the parable. And I'm going to tell you a similar parable to tag along with the parable that Jesus told. And it's called the Derek Campbell parable of the broke. And here it is. I live in a perpetual state of brokenness. All right? I have 4 kids and a wife. All right? I don't have any money. You ask me right now for $50, I promise you, I ain't got it. All right? You could ask me for $500. I don't have that either. You could ask me for $5 million. I don't have that either because I don't have $50. I certainly don't have $500. I certainly don't have $5 million. And so I think while the parable, he answers it correctly, I think he's focusing on it in a totally wrong way, because those who think that they've been forgiven little, love little, but those who know that they're broke and neither of them have the money to pay it back, so then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you ask for, whether it's 50 or 500, when you're broke and you don't have the money to pay it, it doesn't matter what it is. You can ask for anything and you still don't have it. You still don't have it. And here's why I love Jesus. It says, Jesus turned toward the woman and said to Simon. So everything that Jesus is saying to Simon is at the same time encouraging her and rebuking him. That he is telling her, your faith has saved you. Your walk and your heart, that you have responsive to me, that you've given me everything. And he says, Simon, you've done nothing. You've done nothing. One more word picture and then we'll land the plane. Most times when I go places, I like to think that I lead the league in going to places that have literally nothing. And so when I go to towns that have literally nothing, I don't have a car, right? So I'm at the mercy of other people. And one time I was in the lovely city of Bay City, Texas. If you've never heard of Bay City, don't worry, there's nothing there. How can I tell you that there's nothing there? Because when I flew into Houston, and then somebody picked me up, drove me to Bay City. They have a town square with the little marquee with the little lights going around it. Okay, understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My name was on that. Right? If my name is on your marquee downtown, you ain't got nothing going on. Right? And there's nothing going on in your town. Like, they put up pictures of me on their register, like on every business had a picture of me on it. It's like I'd walk someplace and they're like, hey, yeah. Hey, you must be famous. No. There's nothing going on here. Okay, so I get there, and another side note that Bay City is small. I check into the La Quinta in Bay City, Texas. I'm pretty sure I was the only person there. Oh. Here's why. Like, massive hotel. Okay. The guy at the door greeted me by name every single day. I was there for a week. Hi, Derek Campbell. How are you? Nice to meet you. Like, because I didn't see a single soul in that whole hotel. Not a single other human besides me and that dude. So, like, I was basically his lifeline to the world. Okay, so he'd greet me every day. Hi, Derek Campbell. I'm like, hi, Bill. Go to my room now. Youth guy comes up to me and says, hey, how's your accommodation? It's like, great, love Bay City, it's fine. Here's the problem. I'm stuck in a hotel all day because I only spoke at night. And so it's like, I'd like to kind of do something else besides talk to Bill. So that's not fun, but it's a 400-room hotel, and let's do something else. And he says, okay, I think I can hook you up. And he does, beautifully, with a scooter. Right? Like, not a motorcycle, a scooter. A candy apple red with a red helmet scooter. So I'm in Bay City on a scooter. I'm the only person in Bay City on a scooter. Like, cars are going, hey, it's the preacher. I'm like, beep, 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 beep. So, I'm just going places, riding the scooter, right? And so, like, weird thing keeps happening in Bay City. Like, everywhere I go, people say, oh, hey, you're on my register. Hey, you're on the door. Yeah, you're on the marquee. You're everywhere. You. They go, nice to have you in Bay City. Hey, don't go down Avenue C. Okay. Interesting. I'll take that under advisement. And it just kept happening, like, every day. So Wednesday, I'm at the gas station, gassing up the scooter, great gas mileage. So I pulled into this gas station, and I go in there, and we have the same awkward interaction. She looks at me, looks at the register, goes, hey, that's you. You must be popular. No. And so she says the same thing. Nice to have you here. Hey, don't go down Avenue C. And I go, okay, all right, I get it. I gotta go down Avenue C. So I said to her, I said, okay, how do I get to Avenue C? This is a direct quote from her, all right? This is our interaction. Are you going on the scooter? Yes. Lord help you. Good day to you. All right, so I get on the scooter, and Avenue C is about a block away from the church that I'm preaching at. And so Avenue C, this won't offend anybody here. Normally I have to preface this by saying this. Okay, Bay City's a town full of white people. All right? That doesn't offend anybody here. You know the context is I have to go, hey, chill out. You are white. You are white. You don't know. So anyway, I make a right turn onto Avenue C in the red scooter with the red helmet, and if you're from Dallas, so that you'll understand this. Okay, there are places in Dallas you know not to go.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Right? Harry Hines at night, not where you need to be.
Downtown.
Go there. All right. So anyway, that's Avenue C. All right. So I drop into the ghetto. All right. Like it's like a rap video that's just like exploding. People are walking around like it's 10 o'clock in the morning. All right. 10 o'clock in the morning. People are like having a 40-ounce breakfast and pants down here, like money exchanging hands, and I'm like. Yeah, I passed by a place called Wanda's Groove Shack. I was like, I don't even know what happens at Wanda's Groove Shack, but I'm going to wait until 11 just to find out because I'm just like, wow, this is awesome. And people are looking at me like, what is this fool doing on the street? Let's kill him. Nah. So Avenue C dead ends, right? And I promise you, I park the scooter, I get off the scooter, I'm rolling on the ground, laughing hysterically. People are staring at me like, oh yeah, let's not kill him, he's crazy. Who knows what's going on with that nutcase? So I get back on the scooter, I drive back to the hotel, I say hello to Bill, Bill says hello to me. And so that night, I stand up in front of First Baptist Bay City, and I said, today your preacher went down Avenue C, and it was just like, if you've never heard white people gasp, it's like, oh my goodness, oh no! Are you okay? Did you sell your body for crack? I'm fine. Guy in the back is like, is the scooter all right? Love you. I said, today I went down Avenue C. I said, has anybody here ever been down Avenue C? And they're like, no. Why did you do that? Listen to this. Avenue C, the roughest street in Bay City, Texas, dead ends into a street called Grace. And this is what I told them. I said, that's like every single one of our lives. Like, no matter who you are, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, maybe your life is like this rough neighborhood where you've experienced stuff that you think, man, nobody could ever understand the trouble that's going on inside of me. Like nobody could understand the depth of what's going on inside of me. But here's what I'm telling you, that all of our lives dead end and intersect into a place called grace. And that God is not afraid of any of our turmoil and our trouble. That God is here to say, you know what? I'll take your brokenness. I'll take all of those things. And it does not scare me one bit. It doesn't scare me one bit. I still would die for you. See, the measure of God's love for you is not your circumstances. What God has said about you is said through the cross. So tonight, with that in our minds, I'm going to ask the leaders to get up again. And I'm going to ask you the same question.